So let me start over again. When we talk, the difference between boys and girls, neuropsychologically speaking, is that for a girl, any woman can be a role model. Like it can be the mother, but also can be the grandmother or an aunt, or it can be a friend's mother, right? Or somebody they see on TV. For a boy, they only have one role model for their entire lives, and it's the father. So if the father figure is not present, the boy has to invent himself how to be a man looks like, right? And then usually two things happen, or they turn very, like they usually go to both extremes, or they become very much mother-like, or they go to the end of being very short-tempered because they have a very short span of frustration. When you see a all grown up guy that has a short temper, usually it's because the father figure wasn't present during childhood. It's very interesting because today I was having a conversation with my son. My son is 25 years old, and he had a father. He was 4 years old, okay, and then his father left, and well, he was really close to my father, but now my son, he is growing up, and we had a lot of he had a very short span of frustration for many years, right? Like he's very, very smart, but he was frustrated really quick, right? And that's a problem. So that was causing problems in his relationships. And then he said, Mom, I need help. I want you to help me to deal with this. And I said, okay. I mean, like, thankfully, he's really coachable. It's those people that they listen and they will do whatever I say. But today, like 2 weeks ago, they make him manager in the company where he works, right? Which was one of the family companies. Anyways, so he says, I get frustrated because he has to manage men that are 10, 15 years older than he is. And then they get upset. And he was saying, well, it's really hard not to, like react when they don't do what I say, or when they, like they take me for granted. And I said, yeah, but like you have to think that the most people doesn't have the help that you have, right? Like they might have grown up like you did, right? And he was saying, well, I don't know how to be a manager. And I said, nobody knows how to do that. You learn with experience. Your problem is that you don't know how to be a man. That's
Bet he didn't like that.
Huh?
I bet he didn't like that.
Oh, no. He said, you are right. No. He said, he's really good at this kind of thing. So I said, you don't know how to be a man. You don't know how a man's supposed to be. Like a man in a household with a girlfriend because he lives with the girlfriend. So this is a problem that we are facing, all moms that got divorced with little children that they were boys. The father figure is absent or not present constantly, so they don't know how to grow up as men, right? And then it's up to them if they do personal work like my son is doing, right? Like personal work, and then improve through that growth, right? It was a really good conversation. But today we are going to talk about when men are without the mothers. And that's is a very different subject, because what a father provides for the family is provides shelter and is a provider, right? Like make sure that there is food on the table and you have a place to live. And for women, we are nurturers and nourishers, right? So if males have been separated from their mothers, they develop a thing called attachment theory. As we grow up, we learn how to take care of ourselves physically and emotionally, right? Like we learn with practice, we learn with what we have been taught, and we learn if we are curious to grow emotionally, right? Like we push ourselves, we do self-work, we find somebody like me to help you to develop the areas that are a little bit weaker. So our first lesson is from the way that we are cared for, or how our parents took care of ourselves, or how they took care of themselves. So it's so important. And this is something that I always say, and I want to stretch it because it's very interesting how for people doesn't seem to be so so vital. Because when you are a kid, it's not as important as what you are taught by work, right? Like you can do this, you can do that, or you are so good, or you are that wasn't so good, or you can you know, like all those things. What we catch on the most is what we see, right? So when I usually have a client in front of me that has poor relationship with their parents, I always make them reflect in a way. I make them reflect in a sense that you want to make sure that you have a good relationship, or you try to at least have an idea of how you would like to relate to your parents. Because if the relationship with our parents is not good, the relationship that our children will have with us, it will emulate the relationship that we have with our parents. It's not, we cannot escape that one, as strange as it seems, right? Like, for example, you would say, well, I had a really poor relationship with my parents, which there is a lot of people that has poor relationships with their parents, right? I had very poor relationship with my parents, but I am raising my children very differently. I make sure that I talk to them, I ask questions, I make sure that they are cared for, they know I am there all the time. But what they see is the relationship that you have with your parents. That's why they learn, right? So very, very important to take care of our relationships, or the relationships that are not good, in order to our children to emulate relationships in a healthy manner. Because emotionally, it will make them more whole, right? So far, so good?
Yes.
So if we are attuned with our mother and father, when we are infants, you learn how to manage your emotions in a better way, right? Like, let's say, if you were alone, hungry and afraid, you would cry, and someone will come and will feed you, or will try to calm you down, or will change your diaper, and then you will feel like, you know, like somebody took care of you, right? If your parents were disconnected within themselves, it means that they don't take care of themselves, right? Like we talk about the theory, it's called attachment theory. When the parents are not when the children are growing up without the mother, right? Because mostly this is the work that, I mean, now women and mothers and fathers do the same work, right? They take care of the children, they feed them, they change them, they comfort them. But I am almost positive that in the most cases, mothers are the ones that, you know, like do that way more than a father does, even in families that are really good sharing that those duties, right? So if your parents were disconnected within themselves, they wouldn't attune with you. So you could cry, be wet or cold or hungry and or afraid, and no one will came to comfort you. So then you learn that no matter what you do, you better give up, because no one will respond to your cry or call. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
When we grow up, we do that with our goals. We learn that we can better give up because it's not going to happen, right? And then when we are a little bit older and we go to school, so what school teaches is, sorry, any questions? I thought somebody said something. No?
Okay, here.
Hey, Alicia, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying I'm good. No questions.
Oh, okay. I thought you said, okay. So what we are taught at school is so in the school, so many parents, they believe, and you know, like if you are a parent that are homeschooling, like Ashley, for example, she knows that that's a big time, you know, commitment and effort and all of that. But when you go to school, often people think that the school educates your children. They don't, that's not their job, right? But imagine if you were a kid and you were taught at school, go for what you want, right? Or in home, right? Go for what you want. All we want to do is, basically, all we want to do always is life. Living life, that's the reason of survival instinct, right? Like when we are in a situation that we see ourselves threatened, we want to make it. That's a priority all the time. No matter what we are designed, no matter what we are designed to do, but we preserve life before anything else. The one plus the doing should be aligned, because we are more prone to succeed. So when I say we have to be aligned, and alignment means your thoughts, your words, and your actions have to go in the same direction, right? Like the one and the doing should be aligned, because then you are more prone to succeed. And we will talk about distinction between one, wishing, hope, and pursuing. Okay, but you know, like the one and the doing, the thought, the word, in the action, it should be always in the same direction. That's what makes you align. That's what makes you true to yourself. Okay, it is certain that you can do what you want to do. Your desire for wanting it is the proof that you can do it. So when we have a thought that, oh, I want this, that thought that occurred in you, that came to your mind, I want this, that's the living proof that you can have it. Or living proof that you can do it. But if you are not taught that you can get what you want, or you can do what you want, before you try, you will give up, because in your mind that will be unachievable. And in your mind, if at the first time that you try you don't succeed, you will give up, because your mind will go to, this is not for me. right? When we talk about failure, who I was talking about failure? We use the word failure. I was talking to a producer, and she was saying, well, because she was during the quarantine down in Europe for the Berlinale, and then everything got canceled, and then she had to go back, and she was expecting to do lots of business there, and then she didn't do any business. And she was saying, I failed. I said, no, you didn't fail. It just didn't happen this time because external circumstances didn't allow it. That's not failing. Failing is only one thing, and it's quitting. When we have a goal and we want to pursue that goal, we don't know how we are going to get there. We don't know all the paths that we will have to follow because it's a goal that we never achieved before. That's why we set it up as a goal. We don't know how to get there. We know what we want. That's the proof that we can have it, but we don't know how we will get there. And during the process of getting the goal, you might have to change paths and plans many times, because plans sometimes don't work. We tried this, oh, that didn't work. Oh, we have to try something else. That didn't work. Let's try something else, right? So we might have to change the way that we work through it, but that doesn't mean that you are failing. That only means that that system didn't work for that purpose. So when you are in a line of work that you don't love or you don't like or you don't want to do, imagine if you stop doing it and find a way to do what you love. Instead, what it is that the most people do is stays doing what they are doing, and they don't contemplate the possibility of doing something that they love, right? And when I say that, it's not about quitting everything right away. It just, you have a clear idea of what you would love to do, and then you make sure that you take actions towards what you want to do. Because nobody is going to come to your home and say, you know what? I have this job for you. What do you think? It's exactly what you love, right? That doesn't happen. You have to take action towards that, right? So keep doing what you are doing, or you are, I mean, like what they do is they keep doing what they are supposed to do because they earn to pay the bills, right? Like the bills are more important than what they want, all based in fear of change, right? When you are raised in a way that when you are raised in a way that that you have not been encouraged to do not to do your best, you have been not encouraged to do what you love, instead of being encouraged to do what is being comfortable. So sometimes it's not so much. So let me put myself as an example because it applies so exactly like that. When I was a kid, my father always told me that I could do whatever I wanted in life because I was smart, I was beautiful, and foremost, I was his daughter. And his daughter, you know what, could do whatever because he was going to be there all the time to protect me, to, you know, put me ahead. I mean, whatever. I believe that. But guess what? What I saw, it was his example. So I did do all the studying and all the, you know, like all the education that can possibly have one person. Well, no, some people has more than that, but you know, like it is pretty elevated education. But the resilience wasn't there. So when I was overworked, overstressed, I had a ceiling, and the ceiling I saw the ceiling as the ceiling that my dad had. My dad was a professional soccer player, and he couldn't work. He wasn't allowed to work because he was getting paid for training. And he was about to sign up a contract with the Premier League in Spain, with a team in the Premier League in Spain. He was 19 years old, and he was fearful because he was raised so poor that maybe soccer is not going to work out. He was about to sign up with Premier League team, but you know, like just have a plan B, have a plan B. So he worked in construction. Somebody built up a scaffolding poorly, and the scaffolding went down, and my dad fell from the scaffolding from a 5th floor down on his feet, and he broke everything from toes to hips, all destroyed. So soccer was done, right? Like plan B took first position, what became a plan A, right? So that was his ceiling. So he told me that I could do whatever I wanted. But what I saw is, this is what I want. That was my dream. Play soccer was his dream. And that was too big of a dream for him, right? So, and my body broke because of that, because, you know, like I was successful. I could have done so much more, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, politically, I wasn't interested, but, you know, like they have all these, how you call that thing? I could have been working as a ambassador, things like this, right? If I would have wanted to pursue a career in that field, right? I wasn't interested on that. But, you know, like, let's say there is more places to go if you are interested in this kind of thing, right? I wasn't, and because I had a ceiling in my mind, and it was the ceiling of my dad. Don't dare to dream too much, because then your dreams break, right? So I did a little bit what he said. You can do whatever you want, but with caution, right? That's what happened. So it's we want to be showing and teaching children with our example, not with our words, because it doesn't work that way. So if you are not taking care of your health, your children won't take care of their health. If you eat poorly, your children will eat poorly. That's what type 2 diabetes runs in families, because they eat the same way, right? So this is how it goes. It's not so much what we say, is what we do. Okay, what they see. And what I want to read you today is really good, and I suggest everybody to get this book, which is U Square. And I will read this one page, is very short, but this chapter, I think it matches so well with the class today, and it's interesting because I am studying this book next week. Next Thursday, tomorrow. I start masterminding with Bob Proctor, and that's studying this book is assignment, and I have to study one chapter every day. And today was this chapter, which is the class that I wanted to teach you last week, and we shifted for another one. And, you know, like it just always happens this way. So the chapter is Trust in the Power of Pursuit. You have dreamed many dreams that were yours for the taking. Most people confuse wishing and wanting with pursuing, right? Like we have to have a clear idea of what we want, because when we know what we want, we know where we go. But that's not enough, right? Like he says, in fact, almost all of them were well within your reach. Even now, most of what you dream of can be yours. The simple secret is the seeking, the pursuit. Dreams begin to crystallize into reality when they are pursued. So you create what you want or what you want to do twice. The first gets created in your mind. You have a thought and you create that in your thinking. But you have to take action. And he says, continues, the world behaves differently when you actually take action to go after what you want. What you wish could be starts becoming. The dream moves in your direction, begins to come to you, even as you reach for it. Consider this. The dreams you have realized in life are those which you actively sought. That which you have achieved is what you decided to go for in one way or another. You can think positively all day long, all year, but positive action is what counts. Like the thought, if you only think, like it's really great, it will help you, but you have to take action. You have to do things, right, to make it happen. Wishing, longing, wanting, and desiring, these are not the same as pursuing a dream. These are mental states and can play an important role in the process of becoming U square, but they are essentially passive. Pursuit, on the other hand, is active. Reaching for your dream is behaving, moving, and it shortens the distance between you and your desired objective, right? Most people, so if we see it as levels of vibration, imagine. If all of these are different levels of vibration, put it that way. If these lines are different levels of vibration, right? And we are here, that's me, and here is the goal. Here is my goal. My vibration is very different than the vibration my goal is. In order to achieve my goal, I have to elevate my vibration. And I have to have the right line of thinking for that, to do that, right? I have to think, I have to act and behave like I am already here to elevate the vibration. How do you do it? Your thoughts and your actions have to go in that direction, right? Of course, the things that you can do today won't get you there right away, but they will get you here, and then they will get you here, and then they will get you here until you get there, right? So this is a growth process that takes time, but eventually you will get here because you are thinking this and you are acting on this. Okay, we have to vibrate at the same speed, at the same level than the goal that we want to achieve. Most people confuse wishing and wanting with pursuing. Their desire for a dream may be desperate and deep, but when that desire fails to produce, they conclude the dream cannot be theirs. Actually, the only proof they have is that the longing is not enough. The data at hand merely prove that desire alone cannot deliver. There's Steve Jobs said, you cannot follow the dots going forward, you can only follow the dots going backwards. So you can only measure what you leave behind. You cannot measure what you are going to achieve because you don't know, you haven't been there yet, right? So pursuit is what makes the difference. Reaching for what you want alters the odds immediately and drastically of getting it. What you want becomes part of a dynamic exchange with the world and you in partnership when you act and extend yourself towards the dream. U square is firmly based on the premise of pursuit. Quantum leaps require you to take the offensive. You can't achieve exponential gains in your success from a defensive posture. You can't remain in a passive stance and make a quantum jump, right? Like you cannot stay still and have the feeling that you want to jump. I mean, you have to if you want. If you don't, you are going to stay still, right? You must move on the dream. This means you must leave the cover, the safety that goes with the merely wishing for something. You must place your trust in action. Ask, seek, knock, and the dream shall be yours. There is no other way. It happens. There's no question. So I recommend for all of you to get this book. Actually, you already have it. But Alicia, this will be great for you. And Cindy, this is called U Square and is Price Pritchett.
Who's the author? Oh,
Price Pritchett. He's
okay.
great. It's a really small book. Every chapter is 1 page.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's super small and it has, I don't know, like 36 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, and it's about the quantum leap. So it's about that mindset of quantum leap, right? Like it's do the unexpected. So it's when we are setting up a goal, no matter how big it is, right?
Mhm.
That when I'm asking you to set up a goal, and I always say, think about something that is really big, something that, you know, like maybe you cannot think that you will ever have, right? But when you think about something really, really big, on the way to that big goal, you will achieve many, many goals, smaller goals, that will make your life so much easier and much better, right? It doesn't matter if at the end of the day you don't get up there, but all you have done is push yourself to live bigger than you would if you would not have set up a goal. That's the biggest problem for people. People doesn't know where they want to go. Many people doesn't even stop. I mean, and I'm talking people, I mean, like you are here. So that is already a different, right? Like there is people that you would stop them on the street and ask what you want, and they wouldn't know what they want. Right? Like I don't know. What do I want? I don't know. Right? And many, many times they would say, I know I don't want this. Right? Like I don't want this, I don't want that. That's not the point. The point is, where are you going? Because if you don't go anywhere, you are not going anywhere. That's math, right? So when we talk about quantum science, that's what quantum science is you create things in an other dimension, which is your thought, and you take action so you can attract them to your physical plane, to your physical life. How long it's going to take? We don't know. It will depend on how much action you will take. It will depend on how fast you will take action. It will depend how tired you are. You know, like it will depend how much energy you have. It will depend on how much you work towards that, right? Like it clearly, if we have two people, one is working every single day takes action towards the goal. And the goal is always in that person's thought. And the person studies the goal and sees the goal and works towards the goal. And another person has a goal, but waits for somebody to bring the goal to them. There's a difference there, isn't it? And the goal might be the same, but if you don't do anything for it, right? Or if we feel like, well, I don't know about that. Well, if I don't know, that doesn't get you anywhere. Now, you know where you want to go, and then you go for it. And it doesn't have to happen tomorrow. It's just you have to take action towards that, and you want to keep your mind thinking where you are going, right? Very, very important. And it's just interesting how, you know, like many days we don't have our energy tank full to the top. Some days we are tired, some days we are not so motivated, and then it feels like, oh my gosh, I have to do all of these and nah. But if you are in the spirit of the goal, if you really feel the goal as a thing for you, that kind of gets you going, brings the energy up constantly, because that fits you. You fit the thing, and that fits you because it's already there, it's already in a place, right? Any questions or any comments? If anybody needs some help with their own personal stuff, if you want to ask. No?
This is just coming at a good time of other things I'm working on. So it's validating and encouraging.
Yeah, it's good. So we are, you know, like we are always, I mean, like I suggest everybody to have goals until the day they die. Because we need to have a place where we go, right? Like you want to do better and bigger and nicer and whatever, you know, like why do we want nicer things in our closet? Because the ugly ones are not so cool. It's more satisfying when you have something that you really like, right? One of the things that was more horrifying when I went to Cuba in 1991, I think. It was, people there wasn't allowed to buy in the tourist shops, and they would ask you, can you buy this for me? Can you buy this for me? Because all of them were wearing, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 type of sweaters, 7 or 9 type of pants, you know, 5 or 6 shorts, and 3 or 4 t-shirts. Right? So it was, everybody was wearing the same kind of stuff because there was no, you know, like there was no varieties. This communism is that. This is, everybody is the same, right? And the waitresses at the hotel, they would say, I will give you this. Can you go in the store and buy me? The girl in the store, she knows already. So I will go with a whole bunch of money there, and they will give me a bag with clothes, and it was something nice, you know, because they couldn't buy in the same places that the tourists will buy. So we like the nice, even when the education since we were born taught us the opposite. They still wanted the nice stuff, right? So that's living. It's living. Life is about that. It's living experiences. It's living life in many different ways, right? It's living, you know, like for example, for me, I always put the example of flying in first class, right? Like it's very different, right? Like it's not, it's another experience. Let's put it that way, right? If you ever fly in first class, I mean, that's okay too. At least you flew, but you didn't have that experience, and that's too bad, right? So it's, of course, we don't miss something that we never lived, but we know that that must be a better, sweeter life, right? At least when you have to fly 13 hours, right? So Cindy and Alicia, I would recommend you to get this book. It's really cool. It's really nice. And I recommend you to study it, not to just read it all the way through, because it's so easy to read this book and it's not worth to do that. It's worth to just go page by page and study and go back, and because it helps a lot to reinforce what your soul, your inner being already knows how to get what you want, right? We forget on the way, Okay. I cannot hear you. Cindy?
I forgot I was on mute.
Okay.
It opens up your mind.
Hmm?
It opens up your mind
Yes.
to the prospects.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Because you are already talking to me, which I always reinforce this kind of behavior, right? But when you, when I say it, and then you have somebody else's that says it, is more reinforcing. It helps you to believe it better, right? Like to me, when the first time that I read this, like thinking positively is not enough. I thought, okay, good, because I already do that. They take action constantly. So it's, and some people will never take action, and that's okay. But like, don't complain if you don't get what you want, right? Being dissatisfied is a good thing. Not unhappy, just dissatisfied. Like a little bit dissatisfied is a good thing, because it forces you to want more, to want better. And that's just human condition. Is not not judgment, not criticizing. It's just that's how we are designed. We want more, we want better. We all do. Right? Of course we can we can make it with less. Of course. I mean, look at that, quarantine. We all at home. Nobody went anywhere. Right? We can do that. Do we enjoy it? No. Do we like it? Was that a choice? No. We will not choose that. We can do it. Of course we can do it. Right? But I don't want to do it if I can choose. So this is the same thing, is, like, yes, if you wear a trashy skirt, that's, it will get you dressed, it's fine. But that doesn't mean that you will enjoy and feel confident and feel really pretty, right? Because maybe you don't like that one so much. Okay, so wanting more and better is a human condition. It's not that doesn't make you greedy, that doesn't make you selfish, that doesn't make you a bad person. That just makes you wanting to grow, because that's a sign of growth. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okie dokie. Ashley, any questions? Alicia? No?
No, that was good.
No, that was good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, ladies.